Thank you, Dr. Lee. Thank you. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Sunil Ravi Padi. Today I'm presenting Yottasecure, which is a real-time AI-powered cyber defense for healthcare. Uh, with a specific problem we have identified at Anthem, my former employer. I used to work for Elevance Health, which is Anthem, launching the digital platform specifically called Health OS, connecting member, payers, and provider. And one of the biggest challenges we encountered was that Anthem and few other payers and providers were fined with loss of member data in the past. And this is happening because there are too many vulnerabilities in health tech systems. Most of you have seen the most recent UnitedHealthcare's data loss, which resulted into $1 billion write-off from United Health, and they eventually paid ransom to the tune of 10, 20 million or more to the attackers. So the problem is that the current technology is not, um, and the tools are not there yet and to identify accurately all the vulnerabilities. And we see that the number of vulnerabilities over the period of years are growing, and many have been weaponized, as you can see in the graph here, which is coming out of ISAC for medical devices and healthcare systems. And the current mechanism of identifying these vulnerabilities are on a static scoring scale, which is from 1 to 10. So there is no context, there is no real time um, identification of vulnerabilities based on the application and the hardware and the context. So you see this across the stack in health tech systems, from applications to the underlying operating system and the hardware. So there's a critical infrastructure at risk, which is the backbone of essentially running the providers, payers, ecosystem, with all the applications the member interact. And if any of the breaches occur, it is a loss of brand name, loss of member data, and also loss of trust with the payer and the provider, causing, resulting in financial penalties as well. So if you see here, we have a list of all the entities which were fined from the Office of the Ethics and Regulatory Enforcement of HHS, which is like there are a few health plans which have lost data, as well as they haven't conformed to the HIPAA policies and disclosure of PII, PHI, and the growing fines have been everywhere, right? From millions of dollars and growing. And and because of the problem, we looked at how we could build a platform which would be more in tune with the real-time capabilities. So we partnered with Federal Tech. We actually came out of Department of Homeland Security innovation program, and in collaboration with MIT, we launched Prune platform, which essentially is built on a artificial neural network technology. Uh, it builds a model consuming the data from various different sources, from the public data sources like National Vulnerability Database, MITRE, as well as semantic and dark web, and also federal database like NOSWIS. You see on the block diagram here. So this data goes through a pipeline where there's a model which gets built, and it creates a risk model in green here based on the context of the application running in the environment of a payer or provider. And it creates a risk scoring for the specific application. So that would accurately identify the vulnerabilities, so that we also provide remediation in terms of patching and also integration with existing tools the provider payer are running, like HIPAA compliance, as well as we look at data security and privacy as well. And some of the use cases we have done through our customer discovery, like for example, in healthcare is Elevance Health as well as Sutter and few other hospitals we talk to and the payer like Elevance Health, and we are also looking at talking to few other payers and also medtech devices. So a lot of the devices which are prone to attacks, and one of the previous presenters talked about the healthcare device. Um, my father has a Medtronic device in his heart. So it's always a challenge to identify how these devices are secure, especially now healthcare. A lot of these healthcare devices are being prone to attacks over the Bluetooth or other technologies. So the market opportunity, we see that it's been growing from 2023 to 2030 to the tune of $23 billion. The global vulnerability management market, and specifically in healthcare, we see that it's growing from 17 billion to 56, 60 billion by 2030, as per the research data we secured. And we hope to obtain at least start off with early and then hope to obtain at least half of the market share with collaboration. And this is our team. Myself, I'm a technologist with a background in healthcare, working at health tech companies and startup entrepreneur myself. And also, I am a contributor to the open source CNCF, which is part of the Linux Foundation. And I work for Oracle, working with Oracle Healthcare GDU. And my co-founder, Sunny Das, he's a US Air Force veteran, and he's been in cybersecurity field for a long time and also works with the VA Palo Alto. And my other co-founder, technologist Nabil, who is a background from Loyola College and also an MBA. And moving on with our further expanding our team of advisors and partners, Dr. Ken Ong, who's a radiologist from Good Sam, and Dr. Madhu, who was a postdoc at Stanford and is currently at Institute Surgical. And we have a group of interns from Brigham, Princeton, San Jose State, UC San Diego, UC Santa Cruz. So we give back to the community by having um, teams participate in our intern program earlier from grad school to undergrad. And we partner with FedTech, which is a part of the Department of Homeland Security, and Dosanjh USA, which is also a startup company in the field of crypto and quantum. And this is our roadmap. So since we were part of the Department of Homeland Security Innovation Program, which is a cohort, so we went through phase one, doing customer discovery, and phase two of launching our solution by presenting at Converge event in Arlington end of May. And our product is ready now to do customer pilots. So we've been also looking at seed round funding, and we are looking to do co-pilots as well as customer discovery in other areas of healthcare like medtech devices. And this is our customer discovery and feedback. Like we met Nathan Rollins, who leads the vulnerability risk management part of the CISO office at Elevance Health. And he attested to the fact that there is no real-time capability and continuous vulnerability detection in the current environment of health tech systems. And also other industry leaders we spoke with, that has been the consistent message. And especially with the AI co-pilots and Gen AI models going into the healthcare, there is a very big need for these kind of solutions to make sure that they are uh, not error prone, they don't have attack vectors. And also we see based on our survey results that there's a very big need for this kind of solution. And this is our customer roadmap, long-term roadmap starting with initial 10 customer deployments by the end of next year and grow year over year with our service offerings in subscription and on-prem model. And that's from our end, Yottasecure. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. So good timing.
Thank you. I've
Jay,
been following the
go
clock.
ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Very interesting presentation. Do you have, I guess my questions relate around that slide toward the end on your roadmap. Do you have line of sight around who your first customer or a few customers are likely to be, those that you've been, maybe showing some extra attention to over the last few months? And related, are you going to raise capital before your first few sales and implementations, or are you going to raise after you have a few of those proof points? And if you are going to raise before, why? Why can't you get a couple customers off the ground and then kind of prove to the investors that your mousetrap works and that people are willing to spend money on it?
Thank you, Jay. So essentially, since based on our customer discovery early on, we talked to some of the healthcare providers and payers. So that would be our initial target customers to go after based on our early discussions. You may primarily because of the interest and the current challenges they have in their ecosystem. And two, with our presentation at Converge in the DHS event at Arlington, we got quite a good buzz and PR, and few investors reached out to us. And we thought, okay, though we were bootstrapped and self-funded, we would open up the funding discussion parallelly so that the reason is because the sales cycle in health tech, as you know, are longer compared to the non-health tech. So we would like to keep the conversation open with investors, early stage VCs, so we could keep them up to date with our progress of customer discovery, as well as our letter of interest and the further steps in getting a paid contract. And also, we are talking to, because we were part of the DoD, Department of Homeland Security. So we are in discussion with the U.S. Air Force, primarily on the IoT side. So because of our strong messaging in the medtech devices, so we got pathways to open up those discussions on the federal, and also talk to HHS and CMS as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
Gary?
Yeah. Thank you for, I mean, it was a great presentation. You thoroughly covered the problem and the solution. My concern is this is a very, very competitive space right now. Okay. I'm seeing 5 or 6 cybersecurity healthcare companies pop up on a monthly basis. So from a marketing and sales perspective, it's going to be tough to break into the market. I think so market differentiators for me are really important when I see these kind of solutions, and it's not easy because again, I'm an enterprise level informaticist for Sutter, so anything that deals with outside of the clinical part of it, but the cybersecurity infrastructure, getting in the door and talking to the right people is a huge step to be able to accomplish. And then once you're there, getting to the next milestone of convincing them that they would look at your solution, which has to integrate with everything we're doing, including the EHR data and all of that, is a big hurdle. So from your perspective, what market differentiates you from the 3 other companies that are coming in and proposing to do this?
Great question, Gary. You're spot on, because when we did customer discovery, and even with my personal experience at Anthem leading the Zero Trust cybersecurity for digital, so we actually, Anthem uses Prisma Cloud, and I had numerous calls with the Palo Alto Fireworks folks to um, give a list of features which we wanted, and it was always an ongoing challenge for them to deliver because we are one among so many customers they have, and that's the problem with a lot of the existing tools is that they don't have tailored specific to healthcare, and also with the machine learning capability. That's where we have the patent from the collaboration with MIT is that our solution is patented because we have MIT researchers who have proven this, how the algorithm works, as well as how it can differentiate with the existing tools. You're right. I mean, these competitors would get there eventually with the Gen AI capability and the other capabilities, but there is no benchmark stating that
Right.
these tools are capable of accurately identifying and solving the problem. And with our background in health tech, we believe that we'd be able to bridge the gap as well as enable the what do you call like plug-in with existing health tech systems and also with the FHIR format and the new standards which are in the healthcare space.
I just one more comment is it seems to me that the next milestone that is really important for you is getting that first marquee beta customer who could also potentially be an investor in the early stages as well, because if you can prove it in just one market, then it's much easier to get to the next segment of your of your growth.
Yeah,
Good
and I would like to
advice.
add on quick, thank you, Gary, add on that this actually problem came out of the Department of Homeland Security. So the cohort identifies the problems the federal agencies themselves are running into, and that becomes the underpinning for the startup business. So that's the main benefit we got from being part of the cohort from the federal agency. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks.